Margot, good to see you again. And
Good to see you.
I was really impressed at the Smithsonian. How did you feel about it?
I was absolutely thrilled. I had no idea, in fact, that I was going to be in the Smithsonian Institute with Superman. I had it was on my agenda as an evening, a cocktail party at the Smithsonian, so it was all a great surprise to me.
Superman now has some credibility as American mainstream.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I wanted to jump up and down for joy. I was proud as punch.
Which, I have to ask you this, clear up something right now. A lot of people were writing and saying that we would not see Margot Kidder as Lois Lane again. That's not true, is it?
I never said that. I don't know why anyone would write it or say it. Perhaps there were some financial motives involved in whoever put that out to the press. It was certainly something that never came out of my mouth. I love playing Lois Lane. It's great, and I'll play her as long as they offer.
Yeah, as long as they keep going, and I hope they keep going a long time. Because I've just seen bits and pieces and heard a little bit about Superman 4, and this, of course, interview will be seen before the film is released. But this one has a neat message. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about it?
This one's really very brave. This one takes a classical American myth, a guy who stood for goodness, truth, justice, in the American way.
And peace.
Which has taken a few beatings in the past along the road. And Superman, actually, and I think it was very brave of the writers to do this, takes a stand, makes it clear to the audience, through the eyes of a child, how ludicrous this nuclear arms race is between Russia and the United States. And it is. It's totally insane. We all know it, and it still goes on. They still sit down at those tables and BS each other and trade one missile for this and still endanger all of our children, including my daughter, endanger their lives. I feel kind of strongly about it. I campaigned for the Freeze movement for 8 years and devoted a great deal of my life to it. I think that to show it, to get that message through, not as the main point, but as a part of a movie that is joyful, fun, good for kids, filled with adventure, is a very, very worthwhile endeavor.
I like the idea that it's told through the eyes of a 12-year-old little girl, isn't that right?
No, I think it's a little boy.
Oh, okay. We'll have to wait and see the movie.
Yeah. But I was saying to a gentleman earlier that, in fact, when my daughter was 4 or 5 and I was trying to teach her how to read a map, and we had the atlas open, she said, "Mommy, why is the world divided into different colored squares?" And I didn't have an answer for that. And then she wanted to know, well, who were the good guys? Who were our enemies in the last war? And I said, well, the Germans. And she said, oh, well, are they our enemies now? I said, no, now it's the Russians. Well, were they our enemies in World War II? No, they were our friends. Well, and then you start to go, we're all nuts. She's got it right, and she's 5. And in this movie, a child is taken up in Superman's arm, and he looks down at the world, and he basically says, I can't remember the lines, all I see are rivers and lakes in one big world. I don't see a lot of different colored squares, much like Maggie had told me.
Superman is not stereotyped Chris, and Lois Lane I don't think is stereotyped. Would you agree has not stereotyped you as an actress?
No, she's one of the few normal people I've ever played. I've played a lot of hookers and strippers and psychotics and various things. No.
You're pleased then with this character now?
I like her. At this point, she's old. She's familiar. She's an old pal of mine. You know, I don't. Perhaps I've gotten a bit lazy. I don't know. But the fun of making a character comes before you get on the set, or a lot of the fun. You sit. You're up at 3 a.m. sitting there going, God, I wonder what kind of music she listens to, or whatever those things are you do. And so that work, the homework, was done on one. I'm part of 2.
I was told that Margot Kidder really earned her paycheck, the fact that she flies solo this time. What's it like to fly?
I don't mind it so much. I mean, Chris and I have our little competition going, who can do more backflips in the wires. It's painful flying. However, the feeling of it, I fly in my dreams a lot, and I used to hang glide. And so I know what the image on screen is and the euphoria that it produces. So I think it might kind of be demeaning to the movie to go into how physically painful it is to actually do it.
We won't
But
get
you
into
do
that.
earn your
But to-
paycheck.
But yes, but be flying through the air and trying to look like you're in love, you know, and
Well, that
being
is
in a-
hard, especially when your sinuses fill right up and you're tipped forward and you know there's nothing supporting you and everything's sticking in every
Yeah.
part of you and you're in excruciating pain. And then they go action, and Chris and I then have to turn to each other with these big eyes. With our, there was one take I saw. I said, "Please don't use that." Where you could see the vein coming down here that was filled with blood and whatever
Oh,
other
no.
gunk gets in your head when you're tipped forward. Going. I thought,
Now that you spend some time on a mesa in Arizona with the Hopis, could you imagine flying down on a reservation with the reaction of those Indians?
well, they have so much more sensible approach to life than we
They might
do,
accept it,
frankly.
yeah.
The people I was privileged to meet in the traditional village of Hoteville in Arizona were perhaps the wisest, most spiritually aware, most good human beings I'd ever met in my life.
Wow.
And they really moved me and taught me a lot. I mean, the first thing you notice, for example, is that the only crime in the Hopi reservations is alcoholism. There's not beatings, there's not child abuse, there's not, I mean, the things we all suffer in our society where we're after the buck, you know, get the quick buck. But the value system is much more geared to human beings, which is why they call themselves human beings, and we're not. I was very, very moved. I don't know about flying in there. I think they'd go. I think they'd laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, I met
They'd say,
this
"Join our dance line."
115-year-old man who was just great.
115 years old?
115 years old, sharp as a tack. He was giggling and had his arm on my shoulder and, you know, cracking jokes.
This is where they don't have running water and
No running water,
electricity.
no electricity. Generally, the outhouses sort of had no doors in the front, which took me a while to get used to. And then in the evening, I went to the traditional dances in the Kiva, which was a great honor.
Yes,
And,
not too many people get that honor. Yeah.
I got as high as they did with, you know, without drugs. Just say no, Nancy. It was really magic to me, and I had to stop and think about my own civilization. I did have this moment during the dances of looking at them and thinking, boy, they've got it right and we don't.
Yeah.
And then I had the next moment was, I'm not a Hopi. Maybe it's time I tried to get my own culture a little bit on the right track.
It's been a little bit of
Smooth.
magic meeting Lois Lane and, better yet, Margot Kidder and
Thank
Superman.
you.
Thank you, Margot.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Take care.
Yeah.